Hello, welcome back. This is Coach Jeff Mills, your host on The Elephant in the Room, bringing you a new video series entitled True Love. This first video is entitled The Standard of Love. This standard is, by definition, it is an established model, example, or point of reference, or rule of measurement, quality or value that is used in comparison or judgment. It is the basis by which we all use to compare and to judge. And yes, we all make judgments. It's the hypocritical judgment that gets us off course, that gets us out of the will of God, that gets us into arguments. And so the Lord gave me this video, this message, to help us to get focused on what is most important, and that is God's standards rather than the world's standards. In the gospel, according to Matthew chapter 22, Jesus was asked the question by the Pharisees because they had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence. And so how many of you guys know that anytime you speak the truth in love to power, you will silence your critics? And so this enraged, this angered people, specifically the religious leaders of the day. And likewise, when you speak the truth in love to power, you also will anger religious people that are in your life, in your circle. All right, so in Matthew 22, verse 35, one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him. They were baiting him to answer this question. So they were not asking this question from a place of sincere inquiry to know the truth. They were asking him this question because they were in unbelief. They were trying to trap him into some kind of manipulation. So remember, one of my previous videos I talked about the seduction, the deception, and provocation. Here, these religious leaders are provoking Jesus, trying to provoke him into a negative response. But listen to what he says. Jesus says, they asked the question, Master. That's mocking him already, because Jesus was not their master. Someone else, something else, they had chosen to put in his place. So, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Verse 37, Jesus replied to them and said, Thou shalt love the Lord, he's in control, thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. In verse 38, this is the first and great commandment. Then in verse 39 he says, and the second is like unto it, is just like it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Verse 40, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And then, as Jesus is preparing for the crucifixion, he is now encouraging his disciples as he's getting ready to depart. He says in John 13, verses 34 and 35, the gospel according to John, chapter 13, verses 34 and 35, he says, a new commandment I give you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. Verse 35, by this all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. And so some unbelievers who don't have the heart of God, who don't sincerely want to know God on his level, on his standard of living, they take these two passages of Scripture and conclude that they are contradicting one another, and they're not. The first commandment was to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and spirit. And the second commandment was to love your neighbor as yourself. Self-love is the basis by which we love others. Self-love is you taking care of yourself, you loving yourself, and it is that basis by which you can love others, because you can't give to someone else love if you don't have it for yourself. And so that was the starting point. To further the point, to further the commandment, Jesus comes and says, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. So don't get it twisted, brothers and sisters. The standard of love is not how we love each other. That's the starting point. The starting point is you must look at how you love yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you protect yourself, how you nurture yourself, how you choose to develop yourself, how you choose to guard your heart from all these other issues. That's the starting point. But to further it, to grow and to mature, Jesus says, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. So now, the question is, how does he love you? How does he love you and I? How does he love the world? And the question is, or the challenge is, are you ready for that kind of love? So stay tuned for the next few videos that's in this series entitled True Love. All right, brothers and sisters, that's my time for the day. I thank you for yours. And as always, remember, Jesus Christ is Lord. He is Lord over all, all right? God bless you. Stay tuned. I'll see you real soon. Take care.